right, good evening, South Metro weather fans. Kevin Crouch here, and we have escalated things fairly quickly across our area, and that is part of what we were kind of expecting here, and that's why we were watching to see when we were going to kind of get this first motion. And you see these two tornado warnings here, one of those for Bosque County here, one further south into McLennan County. Both of those are potentially threatening Hill County here, especially this storm that looks to be moving towards the Whitney area there. And this storm off farther to the west in the Stephenville area may make its way this direction. It's a little questionable right now whether that will impact our area or not. Really kind of depends on if it takes another kind of left curve and starts moving further due east. But time will tell on that storm. But what we're focused on is these two. There is some conversation right now. Let me get a little further out than that. This storm just north of Crawford, whether or not this storm has a tornado on it. There was some back and forth as far as whether there was a tornado there. There was one reported, but then the same sources are saying, hey, there's no condensation funnel yet. It's just some strong motion, that kind of thing. We're not really sure what we're looking at there. But easy, it's simple enough to say that there is a lot of motion with this storm. There is strong rotation. The same is true for this storm west of Whitney. I can also tell you that this storm, it doesn't appear as well organized as it was several minutes ago. It looks like another storm is kind of interacting with it. Now, what I will say is that what's normally going to happen here is it's going to absorb that other storm, and it's going to kind of reorganize itself. So I think that's what we're seeing. My concern is that as this storm continues to move towards Whitney, towards Hillsborough, towards Atasca, towards Blum, that we will see this storm reorganize itself and continue the threat. The tornado watch does continue, I believe, until 10 p.m. And so this area is under the gun for severe weather. Now, we will just talk briefly about the broader context of the whole area. The enhanced risk basically runs from Glen Rose to Rio Vista to Italy and to about probably Rice Alma area. So pretty much the southern tips of Ellis and Johnson counties on south into Navarro and Hill. So this area is included not only in that enhanced risk of severe weather, there is that tornado watch. Now the watch does include Ellis and Johnson counties as well. If you get down to enough detail, you see the line. It goes basically from Waxahachie to Cleburne and goes south of there. So really, from Waxahachie and Cleburne south is where the primary risk is going to be. We do not yet have a new tornado warning that goes into Hill County. I'm watching for that. Again, this storm is not as organized as it was, so that may be part of what is allowing a watch to not be issued at this point, but time will tell. We will wait and see what we can find out. I'm watching what the National Weather Service is saying here. Of course, there is also, and if Matt, you'll throw the link in there, there is also the radar-only stream, which is a great way to just watch what's happening in this particular area without the commentary. Or I know some people will watch this stream and then you put that radar kind of on another spot. So that is live, and I'm watching that right now, and several of you are watching that, but that allows you to just kind of have an overall look, a broad look at everything. So that way, if you're wondering, hey, is anything heading towards Waxahachie? If I'm focused on Hill County, as we probably will be for the next several minutes, a couple hours even maybe, but if you're wondering, hey, what's going toward Waxahachie? What's going towards Midlothian? What's going towards Grandview or Corsicana? You can watch that stream and see the big picture while I'm zoning in on a particular storm. So you get both worlds there. In both of those streams, this stream and that one are on the YouTube channel. Something else I'm going to mention, I'm going to try to knock all this stuff out before we start really getting into the meat and potatoes of this storm in Hill County, or to be on brand, into the tacos of here we go. Before we talk about, I had to do it. Before we talk about this storm in Hill County in a little bit more detail, I want to make sure that you are doing two things. One, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so that it's in your YouTube feed. You know, I was talking to Matt the other day, and he was kind of doing a little bit more of kind of a end user experience. Said the YouTube experience is so much better than Facebook. Just so much. It just works better. Notifications are better. The algorithm is better. Go to the YouTube feed. Number one, give that a shot. If you're on Facebook, go check out the YouTube feed. Go see what that's like. See if you like that better. Subscribe there. Hit that notification bell so that you get notifications when a video update is posted or when I go live. Make sure that you're plugged in via that YouTube platform. It's better. It works better. And then if you'll then go back, take the YouTube link, go back to Facebook, share it there. Or share it with a friend or something. Get that out there, because so many people have had trouble with the Facebook page and with the Facebook platform. I want to make sure that you're having the best experience possible, and what I can do to fix that or help that is to tell you that the YouTube experience is just that much better. So make sure you go subscribe there, go view that. You know, it's easier to put on your TV to get a larger view of all of this. If you want to stick with Facebook, share this stream on Facebook. In fact, just go share everything. Just go share all of them so that people can be included in this. And, you know, one of the things that happened pretty quickly when we expanded was that the Hillsborough Area Chamber of Commerce, Matt, if you want to try to send this to them or get them plugged in on this, then you know, they promoted this stream, and of course they will be under the gun for this storm as well. So you guys get them plugged in on this as well. Get anyone you know in Hill County plugged in on this stream, because these storms are pretty impressive, but not exactly in the best way. So a couple of things. Rotation has broadened on the Bosque storm. The tornado threat has diminished some. So, and then that's kind of what we were seeing. So here we have the new severe thunderstorm warning, including western and central Hill County. So no new tornado warning for this storm as of yet. It absorbed that other storm. That kind of caused it to lose some organization. The rotation broadened some. It lost some of its intensity. And so now all focus is on this storm moving into McLennan County, north of Crawford. Looks like that's going to move north of Waco there. But we will have to watch this storm, because if it makes more of a northeasterly turn, could be moving towards west, could be moving towards Abbott and Hubbard there. So we will have to keep an eye on this for the sake of Hill County as well. But this storm right here, this kind of this S shape here, is the main one that will have to be watched. Now, what I can also say about this storm is that the storm to the south of it may be cutting off some of this inflow. And so that may be preventing this storm that's headed towards Whitney, moving into Blum now, headed towards Hillsborough, could be preventing that from actually continuing its rotation and that kind of thing, and intensifying. So we'll have to watch what this does, but that could be playing a factor in the weakening of this storm. Let's go ahead and take a look at the velocity, just get a good view of things here. Obviously, this storm to the south, you can see the rotation there. A little bit of a couplet. It's not as clear here, but it's further away from the radar, so it's hard to look down at the surface. But there has been talk about a lot of motion in this storm. We'll zoom in specifically to this storm moving into the Whitney area. And I don't see very centralized or tight rotation. Here's that tornado warning that will be allowed to expire here shortly. But that you can see this red, this broader, brighter red. So that is an evidence of that rotation, where that was. And you can see a little bit of red and green here. But again, there's no organized area of rotation in this storm that I can see, at least, at this point. So that is generally helpful. And we'll go back to a broader view of everything, because I want to talk about this Stephenville storm as well. So here's the three storms we're watching. And this is kind of like recently when we had three storms that we were watching, only this time they're all in one area, and there could be a fourth here. So we'll just go storm by storm. Of course, here's the storm just north of Crawford moving into McLennan County. This is the storm that we're watching that's moving into Hill County here. And then, of course, this Stephenville storm, and the new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued, pulling this probably towards Meridian there in Bosque County. So I don't know that this particular storm over to the west, further to the west, will impact our area, but we will keep an eye on it. We'll kind of have to keep that in the corner of our eye for the most part. And then if we get even broader than this, okay, I'm watching, and somebody's saying that news says that a tornado touched down in Waco. I haven't seen anything like that. I'm not watching the guys in Dallas. I'm too busy doing what they're not doing, essentially. But these storms continue to move off to the east, pretty much due east at this point. And as it does, like I said, I can't tell right now if this storm is cutting off the circulation or the inflow, at least, from this northern storm. Could very well be going on, and that could very well be helpful over time. So we'll have to watch and wait and see. Now, further to the west, we've got a party going on. We've got this storm south of Brownwood, this new storm south of Eastland, and this new storm near Comanche. So to say that this is going to be a long evening doesn't even scratch the surface. We've got a lot to work on here, my friends. We've got a lot going on. I think these two storms might just be the tip of the iceberg. There's another little development near Glen Rose. We'll have to watch that. Another little cell trying to do something over in southwestern Navarro County there. We'll have to watch that as well. Over time, though, we're going to be keeping an eye on all of this. And like I said, share this page. Go find, for sure, go find the YouTube stream. Give that a shot, you know, do the likes and the thumbs up or whatever it is on the YouTube stream that helps that, whatever gets that word out, because we need to make sure that plenty of folks are watching this stream. And it really, at this point, does look like Johnson and Ellis counties probably not going to be very involved in this. I think this storm, this northernmost storm, could impact the Milford, Italy area and Ellis County, possibly as far north as Grandview with some heavy rain, but the severe parts of these storms, the most intense parts of these storms, I think will stay south. So I don't think that we're going to have to put up with that much longer. Something else I want to talk about is the flooding issue, and an aerial flood advisory was just issued for Bosque County. So for this storm here and the storm to the south of it, either one of these, they're dropping a lot of rain in a short amount of time. And we've already had rain here in Waxahachie that I've seen just outside my window. Areas to the south will be getting more, and you see there's more storms off to the west. So if you're in a flood-prone area here, you absolutely need to keep in mind that you could be looking at a flood problem as these storms go through. If you're getting hit with storm after storm after storm, downpour after downpour after downpour, my gosh, I mean, what else is there to do? you gotta take those necessary precautions here. And usually if you're in that flood-prone area, you know who you are. If you don't, if you're in a new home or something, you might unfortunately be finding out very, very soon. Let's also consider that, you know, the warm front, we've been talking about the warm front, and that warm front, if I had to guess, is probably sitting right around here. It was just, there was talk about how it was just south of Waco, and that may be true. It's somewhere in here, somewhere between Hillsboro and Waco is where I would guess that is. A lot of people have been asking about that because that's kind of the instigator for these storms. So I would guess that it's definitely there. And Justin, you're saying that you can see the couplet better if you switch to radar south by Round Rock. Yeah, so these storms, the radar location is right here in Burleson. And so the further south you go, it's looking higher and higher up in the storm because of the curvature of the Earth. If you ever needed evidence of the Earth not being flat, there you go. I've got all you need. But it's looking further and further up as it does a scan in a circle there, a scan all around the area, and we're looking higher and higher in the storm. So this Waco storm, there's another radar location near Round Rock, might be looking lower in the storm and might show that rotation a little bit better. So that's just one of the things that people in my profession have to look at and have to think about when we're keeping you informed. So there might be a little bit of that back and forth tonight. I'll try to keep things as straightforward as possible. Before we go too far forward, I do also need to mention a big thank you to everyone who's given to the Venmo, to the Cash App. I think those are posted somewhere in here. Uh, I greatly appreciate that. You know, that I have income that comes from this, but that little bit more that you guys give, not only does it, yes, buy coffee, which I'm actually out of my coffee. I'm about to start eating into my wife's, and we'll see how well that goes over. But it does help support my family and the work that I do. It supports this operation. Okay, I think it's back. I'm not sure what's going on there, and these are hopefully hopefully that doesn't cause a problem. Let me just grab. Okay, now we should be back. I think the pack lost battery there, so I'm really hoping the other one does not do so. But yeah, I think we are good. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let's see here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have to grab another charger here probably pretty quickly, so we'll make that. I'll make that happen now. So while I'm kind of off camera here for just a few moments, getting getting these packs charged, so maybe we can prevent that issue from happening again, or if it does, have a very quick remedy for that. We are looking at a storm. Let me get zoomed into this thing because this is entering Hill County, and I think if we're going to see possible rotation, reorganization from this, I think it will be very soon. So I'm very concerned about the Whitney area as far as, number one, a hail threat, and also the possibility that we could be looking at the rotation, trying to reorganize here because There we go. Okay, how's that? Okay, how does it sound? How do we sound, folks? Okay, echoey, but it's there, which is the best we're going to get. So I've now learned the limitations of the packs that I was using, which, you know, I was really excited about until apparently those aren't very useful anymore. So I am deeply sorry. Let me just completely redo the whole thing, apparently, because I've lost so much time. First of all, I need to say this. I want to say this. A big thank you to the folks who gave on Cash App, Venmo, all those kind of things. We can get those posted here if you're interested. Two, I'm concerned about this storm in the Whitney area. This rotation, or this notch here, I think this storm has successfully regained its structure. And then at that point, what? Okay. All right. So what I had to do is get the old mic out, get that hooked in, and then you know, we're charging the. I'm getting the packs charged now, so hopefully that will hopefully fix this problem going forward. But I want to go back to let me see. Let's get back to the velocity view. Yeah, okay. So yeah, we've got rotation increasing in the Whitney area. We're getting the greens and the reds are closer together now. So I would expect this storm to probably be showing more of a tornado threat as it continues to move through Hill County. So we will definitely keep that in mind, keep that in our view. And this storm, obviously the storm to the south, moving through the Waco area now, it's, you know, that's going to continue to do its thing. And that's probably going to stay out of Hill County at this point. I think it's going to move due east, stay out of Hill County, move more towards the Mexia area eventually. So I think the one storm we really have to focus on at this time is going to be this one near Whitney, which is now showing a more defined hook. Every time we look at it, this thing is revamping itself. So for the Hill County area south of Whitney, moving towards the Hillsborough area, could move between Hillsborough and Abbott here. I am increasingly concerned about this rotation here, the possibility at least of rotation. We'll take another look at the velocity here, see if we've got an update. Yeah, so here's my concern. We have the red that's kind of bowing out here. I think that's going to keep pulling inflow in this way, and I think we're going to see that rotation possibly increase and start to tighten once again. This storm was tornado warned over in Bosque County. Now it's moving into the Hill County area, so I do think that we need to be concerned about that for the time being. We need to watch this very closely. We could very well, so I think we're going to probably start hearing from the National Weather Service about this. Right now, there's only a severe thunderstorm warning issued. Severe thunderstorm warning, of course, is going to be for hail an inch in diameter or greater, or damaging winds 60 mile per hour or greater. So those are the criteria, the threshold to get a severe thunderstorm warning issued. So it's at least in that area, at least capable of that behavior, that strength, and we are looking at it beginning to show more and more signs of possible rotation as we go forward. And like I say, I just do not like the look of this. I don't like the look of just overall the general supercellular shape here. So, you know, that's kind of going to be our focus. The other thing I'll tell you too, and just a reminder, I see some people asking about other parts of our area. I want to remind you of that radar-only stream, and I think Matt can post the link there. If you want to see an overall radar image of the overall South Metro area, all 4 counties, without zooming in on particular storms, without the commentary, you can go and watch that YouTube-only stream, or that radar-only stream exclusively on YouTube. that will show you the whole area so that you're not having to wonder, what about my town? What about my community? When I'm zoomed in on one particular storm like this. So go check that out as well. Excuse me, and that will enable you to not only watch this stream, you can have both up at once. Not only watch this stream, but also have that overall view as well, so that you can see what might be moving towards your area. But this right now, this storm, from what I can tell, is really the only thing that's threatening the South Metro area at this time. And it's definitely a storm worth watching very closely. We have a hook echo that continues to take shape just south of Whitney. For the Whitney area, we have a hail core that looks to be taking shape as well. So as this continues to move east, okay, so the National Weather Service says the northern storm in Hill County continues to weaken as the McLennan storm takes over. And of course, the tornado threat just north of Waco. So they're saying this storm is weakening. I think that might be a little bit premature to say that. I think we might need to give it a little more time before we assume that there is a weakening trend going on with that. I really do believe that if we watch this long enough, and we will stay on this storm, I think we could very well see it continue to take on the intensity going forward. Somebody asking about Tarrant County, and this is what I'll tell you is this is well south. I know there's a lot of new folks that may not necessarily know where counties are, where places are. This is well south of Tarrant County. I'm not sure anything is even happening there. We'll go out a little bit and just show a loop so you can kind of see where these things are moving. Both of these storms are pretty well moving due east at this point. There's some rain moving into Itasca. Hillsborough is going to start getting heavier rain pretty soon. Again, I'm pretty sure we're probably getting some hail, at least small hail, in the Whitney area right now. So as this continues to push on to the east, we will have to keep an eye on this. And let me see. And I'm going to have to go back to the chat and just answer some questions here. But both of these storms moving due east. Here's Johnson County. Here's Ellis County, Waxahachie, Cleburne there. Both of these storms are staying well south of that area. So nothing really to worry about in those two, and for the most part in those two counties. We may see some heavier rain move into far southern Ellis County from this storm, this Hill County storm. Plenty of lightning in this one as well. But the severe aspects of this will probably stay in Hill County. I would think that we have a hail threat moving towards the Hillsborough area right now. And then we've been watching the possibility of a hook. Now, yes, we are seeing this losing some organization here. And I'm sure the National Weather Service chat is right in referencing that this storm kind of pulling the strength away from that one. Now, closely behind it, we have this storm moving out of Stephenville here, moving into Bosque County. Nasty, nasty storm. This thing has been pretty incredible the whole time it's been moving. Since it was in the Abilene area, it's just been trekking forward, keeping that strength. And if we broaden this out again, here's one storm, here's another, there's a third. So we are watching all of this activity as it continues to, these two storms moving on to the east. This storm still taking kind of a southeasterly direction there. If that storm weakens somewhat, it will also get caught up in that easterly flow. They take a right turn fairly often, and that's how you can tell that a storm is really, really powerful. And I think if it weakens at all, it will start heading more due east and could become another threatening storm for Hill County. So I think overall, right now, Hill County is kind of under the gun for most of this. And we will probably, at some point, let's broaden this out a little further, we will see this eventually move more towards Navarro County. But I think for now, we will be looking at Hill County bearing the brunt of this for the moment. And then just all of this activity back to the west. I think there was a question earlier where the cold front and the dry line are located. I'm not entirely sure. I noticed that all of this activity seems to be pretty much it as far as what's out there. There could be more. We're looking pretty far out of the radar location. So I'm not exactly sure what could be behind this, but it's possible that the dry line could be closer to home and inspiring all of this activity and pushing it to the east. But I have not been able to look recently and see where those two things are located. So we'll keep an eye again on this storm. Let's take another look at the velocity view here, just to get an idea of what we're seeing. Definite rotation in this storm moving into the Waco area here. And in the Whitney area, I don't see anything that immediately has me concerned about rotation. Definitely much less organized. I think for a moment it tried to get organized there, but it just was not quite able to accomplish it. That storm to the south in the Waco area probably not only taking some energy out of it, but preventing that inflow from coming in and influencing that way as well. And hopefully the audio is discernible. I know there's a lot of echo on it probably. We will definitely be fixing the audio issue because, man, that's frustrating. Really frustrating that, we found this great solution and then suddenly it's just not working. So, time will tell what's going to happen there. But we will do a broader view because there's a lot of people from all these different areas jumping in, want to know about your neighborhood. Two things I'll say. One, there's the radar-only stream where you can see all 4 counties. It doesn't zoom in. It's just going to show what's happening in all 4 counties, the whole area, so you can get an idea. This storm is moving this way, moving away from my area, whatever the case is. Here we're going to be zooming in a little bit more because where those tornado risks are or where those individual storms are, we're going to zoom in, get closer, and show what neighborhoods and what communities are under the gun for specific threats. But that radar-only stream that is exclusively on YouTube will allow you to just look at a broad area. And this is that broad look. Let me just go pan this a little over and get me out of the way a little bit. So Johnson County not really seeing much yet, and it really doesn't look like Johnson County will see much. Same story with Ellis County. We've got some heavy rain right around the Milford area. Milford, you could get some heavy rain, maybe some small hail from this storm, but not a whole lot after that point. So Johnson and Ellis County, I really don't think that you're going to be dealing with too much, but Hill County getting the brunt now. That will continue to move off to the east, and eventually we will be looking at more of a threat in Navarro County. One of the things that was mentioned is the fact that in Ellis County and Johnson County, things have been pretty cool. We haven't warmed up much. And as far as I could see, I haven't been able to see any breaks in the clouds either, at least in this area. So we haven't been getting that surface heating that really, really helps to fire up these storms. That was partially due to the fact that the warm front didn't quite make it up to our area. It stayed south. Excuse me. So that we have all of this warm, moist air here, all this unstable air. Further to the north, though, it's just not been that unstable. I mean, I'm looking at 59 degrees here at the studio. I don't think we've gotten very far above 60 all day. So we've been pretty cool. But it doesn't take long before you start getting into the 70s down south of here. That's where that unstable air is. That's where that warm front is. That's where all of the instigation for these storms has been and where that's kind of been focused. So right now, just Hill County, looking at this. And I'm a little bit concerned about far southern Hill County here, the Hubbard area, Mount Calm there, for the hail out of this storm. I think some of that could just skim far, far, far southern Hill County here, but that's going to mostly stay to the south, move towards the Delia area, Delia, not sure how that's said, eventually moving towards the Mejia area there. So this storm moving due east. So I think it should, at least for the most part, stay south of Hill County. I'm just checking up on the chat here. Let's get into some of the comments here. 60 degrees in Rice. And all of the comments about the audio issues, man, that really threw me off. So, lesson learned there. And both of those packs, I'm assuming the battery went out. That's basically just what I'm going to go with. Those two packs went down at the same time. That's crazy to me. So I'll be investigating that a little bit further just to make sure we can get those to work here. Let me let's just take a broad look at the whole area. And one more time, and I think I see a couple more of those things coming in. Thank you to those of you who have donated on Venmo, Cash App, those kind of things. Definitely greatly appreciate it. Let me grab the phone here just so I can stay in contact with folks here. But that really does make a difference. It helps. Not only does it make me feel better after that kind of fumble, but it does help buy the coffee and those kind of things. Just had both kids' birthday parties, as if that wasn't expensive enough. We've got medical bills and all these other kind of things happening. So it's been a rough spring for sure. So hey, it's been a weird few days. My son, my infant son, if anybody wants to throw some tips out there, my baby is going through sleep regression as well. So late last night, I was going to bed. Of course, Evan Andrews wakes up early in the morning. He was waking up around 1 a.m. to do his job. So he was waking up when I was trying to wind down, watching those storms last night. And so we had a quick passing few moments, and I told him, man, I'm ready to go to sleep. I finally got into bed. I finally got comfortable, and the baby stirs. He wakes up, and he does not want to go to sleep. So I'm probably working off of, I'd garnered, say, 2 or 3 hours of sleep at this point. So I'm looking forward to tonight. We're going to keep him up a little later. We're trying to figure out the sleep schedule, what's going on here. And, he'll go to sleep for a nap just fine. When it comes to getting him back to sleep after he's woken up in the middle of the night, it's the battle of the bulge over here. It's crazy. So, we'll see what happens. But trust me, I will be telling him when he's older about the time that he was keeping me up. And then maybe when he's a teenager, I'll wake him up at 3 in the morning and teach him a little lesson about that. But maybe we'll see. You know how parents love to teach their kids how rough it was and all that kind of thing. Let's take a look at the vertically integrated liquid imagery here. That's a mouthful, but we do still have a hail threat in western Hill County here. So in the Whitney area, going to be moving towards Hillsborough pretty soon, especially south of Hillsborough here. Okay, something just came through. I need to make sure I took care of that. But the Whitney area, you've got plenty of hail happening there. It may or may not be severe hail necessarily, but it is there. So that's going to continue to move on to the east. And I am concerned about hail and flooding as well. We talked about flooding a short time ago. I don't know if you can hear me or not. At this point, I'm not sure who's heard what, but I'm concerned about flooding here because the storm is expanding and it's been dropping a lot of heavy rain. It's moving into Hillsborough now. It's been dropping heavy rain there for a while. So as it continues to push off to the east, we're going to see more and more of that activity, I think, just dropping these downpours. And if you're in a flood-prone area and you're getting one of these storms, you want to keep a close eye on that because it'd be very, very easy for all of this to all of this rain to very quickly accumulate, for sure. So I'm just taking a look at more of the chat stuff here. More stuff coming into the Venmo and the Cash App. I definitely appreciate that. And something else I want to talk about too. A lot of people are asking what's the threat for a particular area. When it comes down to it, the worst threat at the moment, or the highest threat, is going to be for Hill and Navarro counties. So a short time before all of this kind of unfolded, the National Weather Service updated the enhanced risk, brought that down to the very, very southern edge of Ellis and Johnson counties, including Hill and Navarro. I'm getting thunder here, so we'll have to double check Ellis County. But the enhanced risk includes Navarro and Hill counties, and that's what we're seeing. I mean, it's pretty much spot on. at this point, and that is probably largely due to the location of the warm front. We've been talking about that a lot. So the warm front probably somewhere between Hillsboro and Waco at this point, draped across that area. So, between Corsicana and Fairfield there. So somewhere in here, and that's why we have these storms that are so intense in this particular area. And of course, the ones behind them. I'm hearing thunder in Waxahachie at this point. And the anvil from this storm is the only thing that's close. So we must be talking about lightning in the anvil of the storm. Let me remind you, and this is something that I tell the classes that I talk to. I've got another school on Monday to go to. Lightning can strike 30 miles, 30 miles outside of a storm. Here in Waxahachie, it's very possible that we could be, somebody just mentioned Blooming Grove. I'm sure you're probably hearing thunder too, but the way this anvil's going, you're hearing thunder quite a ways from the actual core of the storm. It's not impossible. It's not, even unlikely. So that is the spread of these very intense storms. So even if you're not impacted by the storm, you can still hear the thunder. You can still kind of be affected by it in one way or another. Hearing a report of ping-pong-sized hail in Whitney, 6 miles east-northeast of Whitney. So ping-pong-sized hail in this particular storm. That's a decent size. That can make your car look a little bit more porous than you really want it to be. Not that there's holes in it, but you know what I mean, little craters and that kind of thing. So, and I'm hearing that there's thunder even as far away as Ennis, and that's incredible. So, projected path of these storms coming towards Corsicana. So, it's a little hard to do that. I'm not sure that I can give you really a projected path so much as just show you these are moving due east. The storm that will be impacting Corsicana is the one here in Hillsboro. That's going to continue to move off to the east. It's not maintaining the kind of strength it had before. The storm to the south is kind of robbing it of not only robbing it of the inflow that would make it easier for it to maintain its strength over this area, but probably pulling some energy from it. So, we will continue to watch this as it moves towards Corsicana here. But for the most part, I do think that the Corsicana area will get at least some activity tonight. But we can't keep talking about these storms unless we look at all of this activity further to the west. I mean, this is almost comical at this point. It's like we've got this just gang of storms back to the west. This storm is the one, I'm pretty sure this is the same storm that I think we've been chasing this thing, or tracking it at least, since the Abilene area. I mean, it's just been around for a while. So it's been doing its thing for quite some time now. Let me check this latest message from the National Weather Service here. Okay, watching for the tornado threat in Waco right now is what they're working on. But, this storm, I mean, it's got the rotation there, and this hasn't had a tornado warning in it in the last several minutes. But the storms behind it, they look less organized. Again, when they're clustered together like this, especially when they're behind the storm, this storm has plenty of inflow to still kind of feed it. But the closer together these storms are, the less likely they are to intensify and to gain a lot of their own strength. So these storms here are probably kind of limited by that factor of just being closer together. Eventually, I think we will see these storms. Okay, well, I guess we're meeting another cat on this thing. This is serious, by the way. Get this guy under control here. So this cluster of storms, we're going to see this continue to move over to the east, and I think we will see these congeal into a line fairly soon. They're very close together. I really do think that we will probably see that come together in a line, and that may be the solid squall line that we see later tonight moving through our area. These storms by themselves are part of the reason, and Claudia, yes, that was the inspiration of the name there. The joke was Sirius Black Cat, Harry Potter reference. So we will probably see these come together in one line and then push through later tonight. I think that activity might have a little bit of a better shot affecting Johnson and Ellis counties, but it looks like these individual storms, the ones that are presenting the bigger tornado threat, are probably the ones that are not going to affect those two places. Now, as we have discovered, we're hearing this storm in different parts of Ellis County, from Waxahachie to Ennis. We hear it. That storm is talking, and it's talking up a storm, no pun intended. But it is doing its thing, and it is moving eastward. Hail continuing to be a threat, specifically in the Hillsborough area right now. You see this little area of kind of darker red and pink there. And hearing reports of baseball-sized hail in Stephenville. I believe it from that storm. Pretty impressive. Baseball-sized hail threat continues from the National Weather Service on that Stephenville storm. So there will be a new warning coming for northern Bosque County for that. We'll have to wait and see if that takes a more easterly push once it moves in. That could threaten parts of Hill County after that point. But that's still off to the west. We'll see a severe thunderstorm warning kind of fill in here. That severe thunderstorm warning could include parts of, at least northwestern parts of Hill County very soon. You see them blinking below me here in the Waco area, watching that tornado threat here. You see one polygon, the older polygon here, the new one here. That storm is taking a right turn. Good news for Hill County, it's getting further away from you, but not good news for downtown Waco. You see this hook there, barreling right towards it. So if you have family in Waco, make sure that they are tuned in. And Waco has their own media market, so I'm sure they're covered very well there. I've been asked a couple of times to take on Waco. I don't think I'm quite ready there yet. I don't think I'm quite prepared to make that happen. So, we'll see what the future holds, but I think I'm in a pretty good spot here. But this storm continuing to take that right turn will move more southeasterly and away from this area. There's just one severe thunderstorm warning happening here. I think we will see this storm continue to move off to the east, and I think we will see a downstream warning. Downstream meaning it's downstream from the existing warning. So I think we will continue to see this inspire future warnings here. And ask a question about the speed of the storm. Looks like that is moving east at 25 miles per hour. So not terribly quickly, 25, 30 miles per hour. That's why I'm concerned about flooding a little bit. So, okay, just had let's go back here. And I know we're bouncing around, but here is that new warning. New severe thunderstorm warning for this storm moving out of the Stephenville area, moving into Bosque County. This storm has a history of very large hail, and there are reports in the Stephenville area of baseball-sized hail. So you want to be paying very close attention to this as this continues to move on to the east, threatening the Whitney area, Blum, Hillsborough. Just judging by the polygon, looks like this is making a dead heat towards the Hill County area. Let's see how fast that's moving. Let's see, that's going to be another 30 miles per hour. So 25, 30 miles per hour is kind of the estimated speed of these storms in general. We have some time before this storm arrives, and there's a curvature to that one too. Now, is it possible, and someone asked about College Station. This is far north of College Station. I don't know what's going on down that way. But as this continues to move towards the Meridian area, what will be interesting to see is if the air behind this storm, the one we've been talking about, is stabilized enough to keep this storm from intensifying too much, and see if maybe we can kind of mitigate that tornado threat a little bit. But for now, it does appear to show at least some signs of rotation that I have seen. Let me just, let's get back into velocity view here for this storm and see if maybe we're getting a wind threat at this point. So could be some stronger winds moving into Abbott right now. Abbott, northern parts of west from this storm. So that's going to be on that southern side. That you see the bowing shape here. So the bow shape is really indicative of those severe winds, those straight line winds. So in the Abbott area, I would say you definitely need to be watching this very closely, taking shelter right there along 35 as these potentially damaging winds push into your area. But I'm not seeing anything that has me concerned about rotation right now. This storm just has not had that kind of organization in the last several minutes. I'm getting questions about where this is moving, so we'll back off a little bit and show these things in motion. If you're in the Stephenville area, I would be especially south of there, I would be very concerned. What is this, Erath County? I'd be very concerned about flooding there because these downpours have just been training over that area. I mean, look at this storm north of Hamilton. You can see the curvature on it there. We've had very small storms that have shown rotation, so it would be no surprise to me if we were indeed seeing a rotation type threat here, because I mean, my gosh, we've been watching that potential, that problem for the last several minutes here. So I mean, it's just one storm after another. They just keep wrapping up and keep wrapping up. That's why that tornado watch is in place until 10 p.m. So keep that in mind. Any of these storms could be capable of producing a tornado, of a tornadic threat. Waco right now is under the gun for that. None of that in our particular area. So in the 4-county area that comprises the South Metro area, as is defined by, me, we're not looking at an immediate tornado threat. This storm here does not appear to be that well organized. See, there goes the flood advisory for Erath. So the National Weather Service tapping into that too. We have this storm that's beginning to move towards Navarro County here. And then the storm behind it is the other one we'll have to watch, looks like it's going to move across northern Bosque County here, and then move towards the Whitney area, Hillsborough, possibly Blum as well. And let me just go back. Let's check out some, let's look at some, okay, we just got a fresh sweep there. Let me go back and look at some of these comments here. Give myself a chance to breathe. No tornado threat in Waxahachie at this point, far south of there. Like I said, College Station, way far south of here. We're not covering that area tonight. So nothing else new. Okay, and there's my cousin in the Waco area asking about. So I've got several people asking about the Waco area. So let's just take a brief look there at what's going on in the Waco area here. So here is Waco. Here's that Hook Echo here. Here's Belmead, Waco, of course. Robinson, just to the south alley. You're asking about the Robinson area. It looks like the rotation will pass north of Robinson, but it is moving through the downtown Waco area right now. And there is some pretty serious rotation right there in downtown Waco. So I haven't, at this point, I don't think I've seen confirmation of a tornado there. There was a lot of back and forth. So far, the radar, it's only radar indicated. We can actually take a look at one more thing here, and I have a feeling Matt's probably going to do something similar. Okay, I'm looking at correlation coefficient, and it's not really clear, but I could be looking at the wrong radar tower here. Okay, we've moved radar towers here. Yeah, so still plenty of rotation here. I'm not seeing anything that immediately tells me there's a tornado happening there, but decent rotation right there in the Waco area, but should move north of Robinson there. So again, here's that hook. We've heard mixed reports about this, but that is the Waco storm. The Waco storm, and I know a lot of you are probably in Hill County are watching that because it's right south of you. It does look like that storm, that tornado threat, will move south of Hill County. So south of the covered area here, Hill County, it will stay south of you, at least the rotation will. Some far southern portions of Hill County could get a little bit of a hail threat out of this, but the rotation will continue to move on to the east, really towards the Hallsberg there, and that will continue to move on towards eventually the Mejia-Groesbeck area, going forward from there. But we got to stick to the coverage area. So what I want to look at is we'll take a look at the hail threat in the Hillsborough area. Not much, and it is weakening. So at least from the hail perspective, we are weakening this storm, and that does appear to be cycling down. Now, it's entirely possible that that could cycle back up again. Time will tell if that's going to happen. If you want to see a contrast, look at that beast. I mean, this is it is maintaining its strength. Large hail threat here. Word of multiple reports of baseball-sized hail. Man, oh man. Okay, so I'm watching that discussion. Okay, yeah, rotation on the Bosky storm has weakened. So the rotation on the storm has weakened, but this is your hail threat, and that gray is significant hail, is large hail. And we've had multiple reports of baseball-sized hail here. So definitely something to be watching very closely. Here's Walnut Springs. That will be moving on into Hill County. There's Blum. Whitney right where I'm standing here. So Whitney, that will be moving your way as well. So we'll just keep an eye on this thing as it moves on east. It does look like this storm is trying to outrun, and you see, if I go back here, let's go to reflectivity here. I think this storm is trying to outrun what is eventually, I think, going to become a straight line, like kind of a solid line of these storms. Later on tonight, we get a little outside of this. There's this little curvature north of Hamilton. Looks like that will probably stay out of the South Metro area. That will probably, again, move kind of towards the Waco area here if it maintains that right turn. This is the next storm that I'm looking at. So between Glen Rose and what is that going to be? So yeah, Walnut Springs area over towards Iredell. As this continues to move in, the polygon here, this is the severe thunderstorm warning, does suggest that it should be moving towards Lake Whitney here in the next several minutes. I would say, half hour or so. Let me let me just take a look at a couple of things that came in. Okay, no new reports or anything of that sort here. Okay, so again, I'm just trying to kind of, trying to keep up with things here in case we're getting reports and the messages here too. Let me go back in some of the comments here. Let's check that out. Files Valley, low-level clouds moving east to west, while the clouds above are stationary, perhaps a little bit of west to east motion. Is that circulation? So, yes and no. If you see clouds at different levels moving different directions, that's shear. That's not rotation necessarily. Now, it's kind of a cause and effect thing. You have shear, wind moving in different directions, different levels of the atmosphere. I see the messages coming in about sponsorship. I will get back to you after the stream, but because we do have spots open. But the shear, those differing wind directions at different levels, is what's going to eventually lead to that rotation. So one causes the other. It's not really a case so much of one, of rotation or shear being rotation, as one leads to the other. I've got another screen over here that I'm monitoring as well. It's information overload in here right now. There's a lot happening. Ellis County Gardener asking, is Ellis County done after this cluster in Glen Rose? So here's the thing. What I'm not sure about, and I'm going to say two things here. What I'm not sure about, and here's that other tornado warning there south of Brownwood, is if this is the dry line moving through, if this is the front. I got some conflicting information, conflicting leads on what time we were expecting the front to move through, that kind of thing, and we can probably look here in a minute at some other details, but I want to make sure that we're looking locally and not trying to look too big picture overall. But the other thing I'll say is that the last time I said, we're done, I didn't elaborate. And I think that kind of threw people off a little bit. I said the other night, in fact, I think last night, I said, hey, we're done. What I didn't say was we're done with the severe weather threat. We had rain quite a bit last night, actually. That's part of what kept me up, is trying to track the hail threat that was going on last night. And so, we were done with the severe weather threat as it was, but we still had some redevelopment, and it was more redevelopment than I expected. That is fair. So I don't know that we're completely done after this kind of cluster here, but we do, again, see kind of a broken line here. Time will tell if that's going to continue to push off to the east, and if that's going to, again, make that solid line. Let's go back in some of these comments. A lot of questions about specific areas, so let's just kind of zoom in a little bit on getting a lot of questions about Ellis County specifically. All of these storms are moving east. The storm to the west of Hill County is moving a little bit southeast. I think it will eventually be moving due east pretty soon. Will Alvarado Grandview get hit bad? Well, Alvarado Grandview is here, and it looks like anything is staying south of Grandview at this time, staying south of you and Alvarado as well. So I don't think those areas have to be concerned about it. Forreston does not appear to be in the threat or in the path of any hail at this point. It's staying south of there. Pretty much all of this is staying south of Ellis and Johnson counties at this point, just by the way it's tracking. So if you're in those areas, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Multiple reports coming in from the Waco area. I mean, it's just bearing down there. We're fortunate enough. Hold on just a moment. Okay, yeah, just several reports coming in from the National Weather Service there. And of course, here's that storm that is causing all the ruckus in McLennan County. And this is the storm in Hill County that looks to me to be kind of bowing out here, kind of that bow shape. That's going to be more of a wind threat. So in Blooming Grove and Dawson there, Hubbard, might be more of a wind threat coming in from there. Let me get this next question asking about Navarro County, Freestone County, near Streetman and Fairfield. Yeah, we'll talk about that briefly here too. We'll get into Navarro County here very shortly. Thunder in Arlington, man, you're not even close there, and you're still hearing thunder from that overhead anvil there. Asking about Bardwell. So let's track this a little further east and talk about expectations in that area. So this storm, which is kind of the star of the show right now, will continue to move to the south, stay south of Navarro County. It's staying south of Hill County now, will stay south of Navarro County. What will move into Navarro County is this storm here that apparently at this point does not have a downstream severe thunderstorm warning. So it looks like it's weak and below severe limits. That will continue to track on to the east. So Blooming Grove, Dawson, Hubbard will get this storm, and that will continue to move through towards the Corsicana area. And it's hard to say if it will be severe by the time it hits Corsicana. And I've heard about the Streetman and these areas down south of Corsicana too. Really, for any part of Navarro County, I think it's hard to say whether or not we will be looking at the potential for severe weather in Navarro County, because this storm could very well cycle up just as quickly as it cycled down. We've seen that happen a lot. However, this storm, cutting off the inflow, taking some of that energy, would probably mitigate that threat. So again, it's one of these situations, and I know people hate this, where time will tell. So time will tell on that particular situation there. And let's see. Okay, reported golf ball size hail in Waco, Waxahachie. Yeah, so again, this is pretty much all staying south of Waxahachie. Yeah, so good question. Is this still round one? Are we supposed to get 2 rounds of storms? Is another set of storms after this one? So kind of what I was talking about, and we did talk about that, how we could have the round of individual storms starting around 3, 4 o'clock before we saw the congealed line. So what we've seen here, I think really when we get down to it, what we're going to find out is that this was round one. I think this was the individual storms that popped up ahead of this whole system. And then I think behind here, this could be what we're looking at for round two. And Matt, if you'll check the HR model and see what you see there, that would be helpful. I don't want to do that here and cause a whole bunch of confusion. But I think this could be round two. I think we'll, again, see this maybe congeal into a line that moves through, that probably pushed in by the cold front and by the whole system as a whole, the dry line, everything else. And then that, again, should end, or at least greatly mitigate, the severe weather threat tonight. Could be some lingering showers into tomorrow morning, but I think for the most part, we should be at least done with the severe weather overnight. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. So what it sounds like is could still be looking at the cold front being further to the west. So essentially what's been communicated to me, and thank you, Matt, for doing that, checking into the future model, could be a thin, I'm assuming you're saying kind of a thin line moving through. Sounds to me like the front's still out there, still needs to come through. Could be a thin line on that, but this may not necessarily be round two. Now, it could be that round one happened a little later, so everything's kind of happening all at once. That's what it feels like to me. And it was getting harder and harder earlier to figure out what was going to happen where, because we were getting later and later, and everything was looking like it was all kind of blossom together all by itself. So it's a little hard to say what rounds we're going to have. What I would say right now is that I think this is going to be the meat of the severe weather risk. Once we get this stuff out of here, I think we move on to easier activity after that. So let me go back into the comments here. The radar on Channel 5 is showing the storms to be moving toward Ellis County, but Kevin's radar shows them moving more southward. So I can't speak to whatever news channels in Dallas are doing, what they're saying. I don't know if it's some future radar, something that you're looking at. I won't get on the soapbox there, but this is what the radar that I'm using is showing. Moving east, in this case, moving more southeast. So, this storm being the next one we're talking about, moving just to the southwest of Johnson County here. Big hail core in northern Bosque County, going to be moving towards Hill County eventually. And I think that's really, if we go further out, and I need to switch radar towers again here. I told you there was going to be some back and forth because we're kind of in between radar locations here. Okay, so this activity, well, let's start here. I'm getting ahead of myself. Here's the storm that's caused all the concern in the Waco area. That is staying well south of Navarro County. Heavier rain moving into the Italy and Milford areas here as part of this storm, just the northern section of it. That will continue to move on to the east towards Blooming Grove. All of this heavy rain moving towards Dawson and Hubbard. Other parts of Navarro County here moving through Mertens, eventually moving to Oak Valley, and will be moving towards the Corsicana area. So nothing severe warned in this part of the storm. You can see the old polygon here. I think that will be allowed to expire. It's going to continue to move on to the east and could be looking at a small hail threat. Of course, that's that old polygon that I'm sure will be allowed to go away. But here's the next storm we're watching. Big, nice hail core. Could be some rotation trying to get organized there. And I think that's going to be the only one. I think the storm further to the west, I think this one stays west of Hill County, probably going towards Cransfield Gap, Clinton there, and on from there. So I think this storm will be the next one to look at. And after that, we could be, I can't guarantee it, but we could be done with the severe weather situation here. Okay, yeah, so just more conversation about the Waco storm. Let me get back into the questions here. saying Texas storm chasers say the same as Kevin. So yeah, I'm sure the consensus is that these storms are moving east. Some of them moving more southeast. I mean, that's just kind of that's the facts, and there's no opinions to this stuff. Okay, there's no. I think it's going to do this. I think it's going to do that. You look at the radar, you look at the storms, you see what they're doing. And that's it. So if somebody's saying different than I am on what direction it's going, and the radar is presenting that it's going that direction, like I said, I'm not really sure what you're looking at there, what they're showing, but hey, not sure why there would be a discrepancy there. Again, some of these apps have what's called a future radar. It's a weather model. There's no context to it. That's the problem. There's no context to these models, and in order to understand weather models, you kind of have to understand the quirks to them, right? But again, you don't often do that. Oftentimes, you look at a future radar. The Weather Channel has one, and all these different sources, and it's just a constant battle to try to get people to understand that what they're showing you is a model, but they're not saying it's a model. They're saying this is the future radar. This is gospel. It's there to sell apps. It's there to sell advertisements, those kind of things. So that's just the way that works. Nothing hitting Midlothian here. Nothing moving towards Midlothian. Again, Ellis and Johnson counties pretty well knocked out there. I want to take a quick moment for some housekeeping here. I would like to talk about, for one, again, thank you for all the donations on the Cash App and the Venmo and the PayPal and all these different sources. It means the world to me to have that kind of additional support. That's always great, and we can post that here if it's not. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's pinned anywhere or not, but we can post that if you're interested there. Also, share this stream wherever you're watching it. If you're on the YouTube stream, make sure you're subscribed there. You make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell there. As they say, smash that bell, because that will give you notifications when we go live. The notifications work better than Facebook. The algorithm is better than Facebook. It's just an overall better platform than Facebook for a myriad of reasons. But functionally, it works better. The video quality is better. I just want to take a moment to touch on these things before we get to a point where we got to really hone in on these storms. So we are, let's see, where are we at? So we got 1,674 subscribers, which is awesome. That is fantastic. The sooner we get to 2,000, that's just more of a opportunity we have to keep people informed, right? So, if you want to share this stream, go to the YouTube link, grab the YouTube link, share that. And of course, Facebook likes to hide it. We've been having a lot of trouble with that, but by the law of, large numbers, eventually it's going to poke through. So, again, if you're having any trouble at all with the Facebook link, the Facebook platform, quit it, go to YouTube. It's so much better. We're trying to kind of diversify and move that direction just because it is so much of a better experience there. And on YouTube, of course, you're going to get, we've got something else to talk about. We'll do that here in a second. On YouTube, you're going to get the daily forecast updates. You're going to get the live streams, all that good stuff. It's going to be better quality. My bright, shiny face will be better quality on there. We just had a new tornado warning issued for what looks like parts of Bosque County here. So Cranfills Gap, Meridian, Clifton, and I don't necessarily cover Bosque County. Let's see. Tornado warning issued from northern Hamilton into western Bosque County. Could also have baseball-size hail. So this little bundle of joy here is moving off to the east, and this could, if it keeps its track, could affect Hill County. I just want to tell you, in Hill County, be ready for a long night. We were talking about this just before the stream started. Be ready for a long night in Hill County here, because unfortunately, it's really what we're going to probably eventually see. The storm moving into Morgan. This is the severe thunderstorm warned storm moving into northern Hill County here, really possibly more central Hill County. We'll have to wait and see what happens a little bit here, but we could be So we could see this storm take the energy out of this one. It's Game of Thrones out here for storms. They're just sucking the life out of each other. And, as that continues to move on to the east, Cranfield's Gap, Clifton, those will be the areas that we're mostly concerned about. I'm going to see if I can get some water in here because this is killing me. This is early. I should not be having these issues. Okay. Thank you so much for tagging people in the stream. Thank you so much for sharing it. Again, this is the only way we get new people on this. And I know that we rebranded and expanded over in March 1st. I'm still getting out into these counties, so definitely share it with folks. Get that YouTube link out there. Get people plugged in, and that's only going to empower this platform to continue going forward. But we are definitely watching these two storms. What I will say, we need to move over to Navarro County. I don't want you folks to feel neglected or forgotten out here. It is the heavy rain here, and this is a non-severe storm. From what I can tell, there's no severe warnings here. We'll take a couple of detailed looks here. Could be some stronger winds south of Hubbard, so far southern Hill County. Probably going to just barely scratch far southern Navarro County here, this kind of line here, move towards Wortham, and then move on towards Fairfield. So far southern Hill County, possibly some strong winds there. Could be a little bit of a concern about some rotation at some point there, just by virtue of having the greens and the reds, that those increasing winds. But that's far south Hill County, moving out of that area. And, that's going to continue to move on to the east. And, that will be out of our coverage area. But if we look at the vertical liquid here, not seeing, there could be a little bit of hail west of Hubbard, just a smidge, but really not seeing anything. Mostly a heavy rain event moving into Navarro County right now. So Navarro County, you are spared some of the crazy stuff we've seen tonight. And that's going to continue to move on to the east here. And southern Ellis County to the Italy area. Heavy rain moving into that area as well. But again, none of this is showing any kind of tornado threat. Not much of a hail threat. Not much of wind threat either. Just heavy rain. If anything, I think you could be concerned about some the heavy rain causing some localized flooding. So I think that's really going to be the only kind of concern that we would necessarily really have. Zone this out, and here's our next setup here. So we have this tornado warning that will continue to move on to the east, moving towards Clifton there, eventually moving towards Hill County. This storm north of Morgan going to be moving towards Hill County pretty soon, so let's get a good look on this. Definitely, this is the same storm. Like I said before, we've been watching this thing since Abilene. Okay, it's moved all the way that way. It's maintained its strength. The storm to the south, though, looks to be taking over the stage. Could lead to this storm weakening. So I think we could ultimately kind of deal with that happening there. So as this continues to move off to the east, we could be dealing with that hail threat. And if we pull, let's take another look at the vertical liquid. Yeah, so all that gray is large hail. Now the pink and the red is probably smaller hail, but definitely looking at large hail there for that storm, and that will continue to move on to the east. Yeah, so and more comments saying that YouTube is working better for people. Seriously, go to the YouTube link. If we can post the YouTube link in the Facebook chat, is that something we can do? Hopefully that's something. I think Matt can probably do that. Put the YouTube link out there, and so you can rewind the Facebook stream too. Not anywhere near as easy. Find the thing, and it's just. In fact, I don't even know if you can back up a Facebook stream. Sometimes I can't. It's the most inconsistent thing in the world. YouTube, you can. It's a lot easier to do that, and then you just click live there at the bottom left, and it'll catch up to speed. So really easy to kind of back up and do that. Thank you, Matt, for posting that. I really appreciate it. Follow the YouTube link. Give that a shot. Subscribe, bell, all that good stuff, right? I'm a big fan of YouTube. I spend a lot of time on it, so might as well work more on it, right? So big hail core with this storm that has inspired this tornado warning here. So that's going to continue to move on to the east. And yes, you can put it on your TV so that my bright shining face is huge, right? Not what you're looking for. It's easier to see the radar. That's what you want. But two very intense storms heading towards Hill County over the next several minutes. You're asking if rain is over in Hillsboro. It might be for the moment, but if we, again, put this back into motion here, you're getting the briefest of breaks, I think, in Hillsboro, and already got rain moving into Hillsboro, but these two strong storms, these two severe storms, moving through. So, yeah, and everybody's talking about how clear the YouTube stream is. Those guys, they rock over there so much better than Facebook. Welcome. Welcome to South Metro weather as it's supposed to be viewed on YouTube. This is the dream. So as we watch these storms, they are not immediately impacting Hill County right now, but they're getting close. And particularly this storm in the what are we talking, Morgan area now, north of Meridian. So from Morgan here, yeah, that's going to continue to push off to the east, just about to move into the Blum area there. Let's zoom in. So from Blum to Huron, over to Lakeside Village and what is that, Coppert? I'm still learning some of the pronunciation of these communities, but it's going to continue to move on to the east. And so a hail threat there for sure. I think that's going to be the main threat here. I don't think this storm shows much of a tornado threat. Let's see. We'll take a look. Yeah, so it could be some broad rotation in this storm, but not anything too concerning. But yeah, if we look down south, it's not as clear, but definitely seeing more. Okay, yeah, it's kind of in between radar, so it's just hard to really tell. You're asking about Minnesota. Can't help you there. I can't help you there. The Cranfills Gap area, that's where we have this rotation right now. And yeah, so the news for thunderstorm warning is coming in for Bosque County and Hill County for that continued hail threat. So that will be to the north. But this is the hail, or rather the hook echo, where we're looking at the possible rotation there. It looks like it's not as organized, but it's just kind of a little bit hard for the radar to see. Don't think we have any rotation, any tornadic rotation at least, that's too concerning here for this storm. You can see it wrapped up just a little bit here, but I really think that it's pretty much at this point, it's basically going to get to the point where, any kind of rotation there, I think, is kind of wrapping itself up and not really a concern. But it's mostly just a hail threat at this point for that storm. And we'll take another broad look here. Let's just take a big look and put this into motion. So that you can see, again, really the only parts of Ellis and Johnson counties that are getting something. There's a little bit here in the Maypearl area there, a little cell, could have some heavier rain. South of south of Waxahachie here, so Forreston, Italy, Milford, some rain there, heavier rain from this cell. That's pretty much it. And then these storms here look to be headed south of that area. Now, I will comment, there's a little bit of an insurgency of some moisture moving northward here, kind of northeasterly maybe. So that could be trying to move up into southern Ellis County, but not anything severe for Ellis or Johnson counties going forward here. I really don't think we're going to have to deal with any of that. Share the Facebook page and turn on notifications. Thank you so much for all of the help on YouTube. Just crossed 1,700 on. Can you imagine? There's over 36,000 people following the Facebook stream. Can you imagine if we moved all 36,000 plus to the YouTube channel? That would be awesome. That would be fantastic. They would all get a clearer picture, crisp picture. Now, what I'll say, don't leave the Facebook page completely, because I'm able to post those just by the moment posts on Facebook. I'm able to do that there. But when it comes down to the video quality, much better on YouTube. Okay, YouTube needs to make some improvements to their community post stuff, namely get rid of the very rigid, very square shape on things. But you know, if we can at least get the video quality or the video content completely distributed on YouTube, at least, or consumed there rather, I think that people are going to have a better experience. What's the YouTube? The link was posted there. I guess we can do that again. Yeah, the Twitter page is good. The Twitter page was dead for a little while, but I've kind of activated that a little more. But the YouTube, on YouTube, just south for search, search for South Metro Weather, and you will find it there. Just find the little tornado logo, and you'll find that there. Yeah, so yeah, there's the link. Thank you, Matt, for posting that Facebook link or that YouTube link again. And southmetroweather.com also has the link to the YouTube page. If you know you really can't find it, you need to go there. But all of this activity, Matt asking if you can pin the YouTube link. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and just pin the YouTube link there, because there are a couple of people having trouble clicking on that. We'll just pin that at the top. Anybody that comes in can do that. Let's just evangelize that now, right? Two birds, one stone. Taking a look at radar here. Yeah. So yeah, downloaded the YouTube app and it will give notifications. And that's the thing, much better notifications than Facebook. I'm just saying, doesn't take much. So I want to take a look at We've got this itty bitty little kind of fish hook here. Normally hooks are a big problem, but I just have a hard time believing there's much going on here. So again, could be some broad rotation here, but really not much. And yeah, so a couple questions about Waxahachie. Waxahachie is in the clear here. No severe weather headed that way. And then here in Cranfield's Gap, I don't see any kind of tight rotation. So not expecting any kind of tornado threat. At least, you know, South Meridian, the tornado threat or tornado warning continues here. But it looks like it is kind of weakening there, not as, well, never mind. We got another sweep here. Looks like we could still be seeing some of that in the Cranfield's Gap area. Let's go back to yeah, so could still be some rotation in the Cranfield's Gap area. That has kind of clarified on the radar. When you're that far away from the radar, sometimes it can be hard for it to read. So sometimes it takes some patience, but that's Bosque County. What I really want to see and talk about is, and I'll get to some comments here in just a moment, because I know that there's some concern there. But this is the boundary. I believe the Brazos River, right? Or am I right, Brazos River? I may be too tired to start calling this stuff. But this is the hail core, the hail concern that we have right around Lakeside Village, Coppert. Somebody's going to have to correct me on that. This is going to continue to move off to the east, so this will be moving into western portions from eastern Bosque County into western portions of Hill County towards Huron there, towards Whitney, possibly towards the Blum area. So that's where we're a little bit. That's where I'm a little bit concerned. Mandy asking about the live radar only. It's good. It's a good time for me to mention that. You can get that on the YouTube channel. So if you go over to the South Metro Weather YouTube channel, you can find this stream there, as well as the radar only stream. So you can find both of those on that channel, and that will be the best way to find that. And you can watch both at the same time. I have some people that have one on one screen, one on the other, one on a phone, maybe one on the computer, whatever the case is. But you can watch both simultaneously at the same time. Okay, yeah, a lot of questions about Waxahachie. So questions about Waxahachie. Waxahachie is far enough north to really not be concerned with tornado issues or severe weather at this time. Not really looking at, not really concerned about that. And there's some question about a line further west. We'll check that here in just a moment. let me just kind of reorient myself here. And hearing that weather scares you, I totally understand. That's how I got started. I had crippling, really debilitating fear of severe weather when I was a child. And here I am now. Learning more about weather, learning about preparation is what got me where I'm at now. Fox 4 radar shows some storms in Hatchie later. That's the future radar. That is a weather model. Don't take that as gospel. Take that as a general idea of what that model thinks is going to happen at that moment. In an hour or less, really in half an hour, really, when that model rehashes itself, refreshes itself, don't be surprised if it looks completely different. So that is just going to happen sometimes. Oh, there's the dinner that I get to. I'm gonna be smelling that now.
Sorry.
Oh, that looks good. Can I get some water too, please?
Yes.
Cotton mouth like crazy up here. It's what happens when your audio doesn't work and then you're completely thrown off your case. Okay, so and Matt, is that radar only screen working? I'm getting a loading screen on the MacBook here. Okay, good. I'm just making sure because I'm seeing the little loading circle of death there. So just making sure that's working properly. Getting some weird comments here. Y'all chill out. What is going on here? Weird stuff. I am not eating on a stream. I am too professional for that. Come on, y'all. Let's see. Man, we are really filling in. Okay, a couple of things I want to look at here. Okay. Thank you so much for the water. I desperately need that. Perfect. Okay. So, getting tougher to kind of tell what's happening here, which there's a benefit to that. So give me just a moment. But all of this is kind of filling in here, and you see a lot of just heavy rain kind of filling in. Number one, yes, we're seeing more of a line, and you see further north into the Fort Worth area, there's kind of a line developing there. Nothing really going on there, just some rain up in that area. Only issues with YouTube, more trolls. We'll slay them. It'll be fine. We'll take out the trolls, no problem. But as we see the line here continuing to move off to the east, as we see this fill in, and number one, that's unfortunately going to increase the flood risk in Hill County. That's just more heavy rain, adding where heavy rain is not needed. But as we fill this in, and we'll zoom in just ever so slightly there, this is going to crowd out the area where these storms are. So it's very possible that we could see that kind of choke off any kind of circulation with these storms. This northern storm, we've already seen the rotation kind of wrap up on itself and kind of go away. Yes, that was Terry, my wife, who, frankly, I mean, she keeps this thing running. There's no way I could function without her. But as we see, this storm here, I think is going to start weakening. Okay, got a warning on your phone for baseball-sized hail in Ellis County. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't know what is happening there, but no warnings issued for Ellis County, so not sure what's happening there. That might have been a app giving you a notification that there's baseball-sized hail in the general region of Ellis County. I think maybe, I don't know, something like that. That's the only thing I can think of. But there's no warnings for Ellis County right now. But what I was saying is that as we fill this in, this is going to kind of cut off that inflow. I think we'll start to see this storm moving into northern Hill County weaken. This storm is already showing less and less signs of rotation. Obviously, east of Waco, we have that storm that prompted that warning. And then here in Navarro County, let me kind of get out of the way. There in Navarro County, we have the rain that's moving off to the east. Again, I'm not seeing anything severe there. We can take a look. Let me kind of move this little card here that's got all my controls and everything here, we can look and see if we're seeing any kind of hail in that storm. So a little bit, there's a little bit of possible hail in Navarro County, eastern portions of Navarro County, excuse me, southwestern portions of Navarro County, but not really seeing anything that's too concerning at this point. Talking about hail, we can see where the biggest hail threats are. Still a hail threat that is kind of constricting here in northwestern Hill County. It's just not looking like it's going to maintain itself. Again, the more we see this filling in, the less it has inflow to feed that updraft. That will kind of help to mitigate that and kind of mellow out that storm. Still a hail threat here in Bosque County. That could still be moving moving a little bit to the east. So that it's possible that we could see this really kind of falling apart, hopefully weakening as it moves through. So we could be looking at a few good signs here that we could be looking at. Now, hang with me here. Could be looking at these two storms weakening. It definitely looks like they are. Yeah, so National Weather Service saying the rotation has broadened just east of Granville's Gap. So, yeah, looks like this storm is weakening here. Both of those are weakening in general. And so we could be looking at those cycling down just in time for them to move into Hill County. That's not to say that we couldn't be looking at we couldn't see those ramp up later, as they often do. You know, sometimes they'll ramp down in Hill County, then they increase over in the Corsicana area in Navarro County. That happens. But as we continue to watch this, what I think will happen eventually is I do think we will see a line form, and this will congeal into a line, and that will spell more problems for areas south and east of us. I think really that's probably what we're going to see. But for our immediate area, things are fortunately starting to calm down, not cool, well, we're cooling down too, but calm down quite a bit as we go forward. And again, I want to mention too, just once again, that on the YouTube channel, the channel there, you can go on that radar-only stream, and that will show the whole area without me bouncing around from place to place and doing different things. It's just that radar. So if you want to watch just an overall radar, you can watch that stream. You can watch this one along with that one. You can have two different windows open and it will play both of them. But there's no audio there, no sound, not me interrupting things, just that stream. So if you want to do that, that is exclusively on YouTube. So yes, and to answer a question in the chat, yeah, just heavy rain for Navarro County really at this point. Not much more than that. That's pretty much going to be the limit of it in Navarro County right now. We could be looking at some small hail. In fact, let's take a look at this area just south of Oak Valley. We could have a little bit of a hail threat increasing here between El Dorado Center and Oak Valley there. Let's see if we can get closer and get any more. So Purdon and Pursley there. That area, we could be looking at an increasing hail threat there. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, so I think we could be looking at a hail core developing here. So very, very possible that we could be looking at some hail there. Not the kind of baseball-sized hail that we saw earlier tonight, at least not at this point. But as that continues to move off to these, we'll have to just take a look at that. And again, if you've sent messages about sponsorship, about getting your logo on the beginning stream or on the cover photo, I'll get back to you after this, and we'll talk details there. Not much happening for Ennis. In fact, Ellis County looks like could be filling in with some rain. So it could be some moderate rain, steady rain from Italy over towards Rager Springs there. That will continue to move kind of probably to the northeast here, not really due east. Just kind of more due east there then. But not much happening. I bet a lot of that is coming from the anvils from the upper levels of these clouds. So nothing severe here, nothing really to be worried about. Let's see. Will the line coming for later be as severe as this? Yeah, so if we do have that second line come through, and it's really hard to tell right now, but it looks like, I wonder if maybe this is it. This stuff behind here, maybe that's going to be that thin line that moves through later on, if it does. I don't think it's as severe as this. I think what will happen is all of this will move out. We will have been worked over enough. Johnson and Ellis counties are far too stable for all of this severe weather. That's why this is all limited. You look at it, everything is south of there. And you look at the way the Storm Prediction Center crafted the enhanced risk, right there. It's limited right there. So, I mean, they nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. And it's not, not much happening north of there. It's just, just rain, possibly some lightning and thunder here. But that's pretty much all you're going to have. So, pretty much limited to those areas in south as this stuff moves eastward. That tornado warning is still in place. I'm pretty sure that's going to be allowed to expire. I don't think a new warning will be issued there. So I think we'll be good there. We'll get back to the storm in Hill County. This has fully moved into Hill County here. Let's just check a couple of things. Let's check that velocity. Again, not seeing anything concerning to me as far as rotation. Could be some gusty winds throughout that storm. And then, yeah, the hail threat is definitely mitigating. And this is, again, here's Whitney, here's Blum. So in between there, kind of in the Huron area, I really don't think we're looking at much of a hail threat at this point. And then if we look down this storm, continuing a hail threat, but the rotation has definitely weakened for this one. So as that gets closer to Hill County, I'm pretty sure that tornado warning will be allowed to expire. And I think the tornado threat itself will go away as well. Let's get back to a general view. I feel like things are slowing down. It's taking longer to move on to different things. So we'll talk about what we have active as far as alerts, watches, warnings. First, there is a tornado watch that continues, I believe, through 10 o'clock. What's going on in there? I think my son's having a little too much fun. Man, it's only 6:47 right now. Golly, we've been here a lot longer than that. Of course, I mean, this started at 5 o'clock, so, I guess that makes sense. But we have the tornado watch through 10 p.m. This severe thunderstorm warning in Hill County, see, that goes until what? Why is it not showing me? Okay, 7:30. 7:30, so about 45 minutes left. 45 minutes in this severe thunderstorm warning. This tornado warning is still in effect, but that's until 7. So we got another 11, 12 minutes there. I think that will be allowed to expire. The tornado threat has really kind of mitigated here in this storm from what I can tell. Let's get zoomed in here and just kind of see, because now we're starting to see some curvatures here. Okay, so we could be seeing this rotation increasing again right near Crossroads Store there. So just in the very southern edge of this warning, it could be looking at that. But again, just because this is exactly what they need, looks like that could be tracking once again into northern McLennan County. So it looks like this rotation will move south of Hill County as well. So I think Hill County is probably not going to be looking at a tornado threat at this point. Let's get into the comments here. I think these folks are looking for clarification here. Okay, talking about a delay on YouTube. Yeah, you have to make sure that it's live. Sometimes it'll default and not be for some reason. I'm not really sure why. And then if there is a delay, that may just be going from platform to platform. But I will say, on the I was working on the radar only stream earlier, and I really didn't have to worry about a delay there. Any changes I made in the program were pretty immediate, so hopefully that will kind of take care of that. But we're kind of ramping things down. Part of this, I think, is the loss of daytime heating. I mean, we're the sun's going down. Uh, I think we cool down pretty quickly across our area. I mean, our warm temperatures. We were talking about the 70s, so we're not talking about 80, 90-degree temperatures out there. We're talking 70s. So when it comes down to it, I do think that we'll probably start to see this stuff kind of winding down. And as I mentioned, this storm has nothing to compete with. Plenty of rotation there, plenty of hail, nothing to compete with this storm. But you get back behind all this. Number one, these storms are still competing with this one to get inflow. It's kind of cutting them off. And then there's just more activity. So more competition for those resources and for that instability here. This is also getting into areas that have been worked over significantly. So I do think that the severe weather threat for our area is slowly but surely kind of winding down. Okay, I'm just catching up on what's being said in the chat here. Again, there could be a developing area of rotation, lower level rotation in this storm, but that does look to be moving more towards McLennan County. I do think that will miss Hill County for the most part here. Just put this in motion, kind of get a better idea. Yeah, so this storm it's running into more activity. I think that's going to kind of help to moderate it a little bit, kind of mitigate it, kind of calm it down. This storm actually looks to be bowing out, so that could help to mitigate a tornado threat there. You can get tornado threats on the leading edges of those bow echoes, but I think for the most part, we're going to see that move eastward. And again, any kind of rotation will move into northern McLennan County, but there's still new development there. So this is moving into more stable air once again, right behind this major storm. So I really do think that we will see this whole area mitigate over the next several minutes. We'll see that kind of winding down. If you're on the Facebook stream right now, I would encourage you, and I've done this quite a bit before, go over to the YouTube channel, give that a try, see if the quality is better. I've had numerous people talking about how much better the YouTube quality is. So if you're on the Facebook stream, go give the YouTube channel a try. Subscribe there, hit the little notification bell so you're getting notifications when I go live and when those updates are posted. That would be wonderful. And Broderick, your comment... Okay, so you're talking about a storm near Granbury. So we'll take a look at that. Yeah, that's just a tiny little blip there. I don't really expect that to do much. Yeah, I really don't expect much out of this. I think this is going to be more kind of relaxed shower activity behind all of this. You forget, and don't forget, that temperatures are cooler north of all of this activity. So in that cooler air, and it really looks like all of this is in cooler air here. So we could have cooler air filling in behind these storms. That cooler air, that more stable air, has a much bigger uphill climb to intensify than these storms do. These storms are still in the warm sector. They're still in the unstable air here. But as this moves north, it's getting into cooler air. That will watch these storms in these little cells weaken quite a bit. So I really don't expect much out of this. It's in really cool air. It's in stable air. I don't think that's really going to do anything. It could move into Ellis County and bring some rain, but I don't think anything severe will happen from that. So we have our monster storm here east of Waco, kind of doing its own thing. A tornado warning for Bosque County will be allowed to expire. Will be replaced for a severe thunderstorm warning with a large hail threat. So yeah, this storm transitioning to just a large hail threat, not anything tornadic to really worry about there. And then we do have the continuing severe thunderstorm warning for this storm in Hill County. I think we will see that one, for the most part. I think that will weaken and begin to kind of fall apart as well. I'm trying to see what this comment says here. Yeah, well, Definitely not wearing powder or anything like that. So you're just gonna have to deal with the wrinkles and the pores and everything that you can see. So Pete Delkus might powder up and all these kind of things. Maybe not for me. But as we see this line, and we are seeing this line congeal into just kind of one complex, one solid line, and that's what I expected to see here. So as we watch more of this, as it continues to move off to the east, I do think, that we will see this move in, and I do think that there are cooler temperatures in Erath County right now, because this activity definitely looks very tame, almost looks elevated at this point. So I think that we're looking at cooler temperatures, keeping some of that from intensifying. And, I can, let me actually see, take a look at what we're seeing as far as the temperatures behind this line. That's what I want to see. Let me check. Actually, let me check on another other screen here. Because if we are getting those cooler temperatures behind all of this, and if you're in Navarro County tuning in right now, no severe weather threat for Navarro County right now. We'll get to Navarro. I can't look at another screen here. Well, I can if I just nix this one here. Well, Matt, you can open yours up. I just closed it on my phone. I had a redundant window here, so you're good to go. Severe thunderstorm warning for Bossy, McLennan, and Hill, and that's going to be that. Just overall, this storm here, as it's continuing to move off to the east, that is effective until 8 o'clock. So about an hour or so for this to continue to move off to the east. And that was the storm that was rotating, and I think that has been allowed to, that will be allowed to expire, and that will, that tornado threat has really, really mitigated in the last several minutes. All right, so if I can take a look at the temperatures here. Yeah, so the temperatures from Gatesville to Temple, Killeen, they're in the 80s there, okay? Waco area, right around 60 degrees, 61. Yeah, we're looking at Stephenville is 58 degrees right now, 58 in Granbury, 59, 60 in Eastland. That's where we're at here. So we are in the cooler end of all of this. The warm front definitely south of us, even cooling down in the Waco area. So the warm front is almost like the warm front might be retreating southward just a little bit. And these warm fronts, they kind of bounce up and down. So that will happen some. But there's definitely cooler temperatures behind this activity. So behind this, and you can see just some rain here, I really do think that we're going to be allowed... Okay, and an update for Hillsborough coming up just a moment. But I think once this moves through, if we do get any more rain overnight tonight, I do think that we will be done with the severe weather threat. But as was mentioned earlier in the forecast, we could be looking at some showers earlier in the morning. This tornado warning will be allowed to expire. That's irrelevant at this point. New severe thunderstorm warning has been issued going towards the Waco area, going towards southern and central Hill County here. Whitney, Hillsborough there, and so mostly a hail threat here, and the warning for northern Hill County, this cell right here, the hail size has been downgraded to ping pong size. So, I mean, ping pong size still sounds like it can do some damage, but definitely a lot better than the baseball-sized hail that it was throwing out in the Stephenville area. So this storm is weakening. The more we see all of this coming together and competing with each other and filling in and really closing up those gaps, we will absolutely see all of this activity kind of mitigating and weakening and all this kind of thing. This is really the strongest storm right now. So we'll take a look at the hail threat here. Let's see what we're seeing there. Looking for a couple of areas. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, so northern Hill County, the hail threat is really definitely mitigating there. Let's look at a loop on this. Yeah, and you can see in the Hyco area just how large that hail core was. Look how much that has fallen apart already. Even the one north of Morgan there. So still a bit of a hail threat moving towards Clifton, and could be one south of Whitney here in this little cell. But I mean, wow! Look at how quickly the hail threat in northern Hill County is falling apart. So that is encouraging there. And west of Clifton, you could be looking at still, some severe weather, severe hail there, but that I think will quickly weaken as well as it gets closer to Hill County. And we're starting to see some red southwest of Stephenville, so that will be worth watching. As I mentioned, it's cooler air back here. So not looking at anything too intense in the Stephenville area right now, and I don't expect much. This has been worked over, it's been stabilized, there's cooler air here, so I really don't think that we're going to have too much to be paying attention to there. But we will have to keep an eye on this, because once you get into this open space, different things can happen. But I think, I do think that the cooler temperatures there, and I do think that cooler temperatures will replace all of this. We've been pretty much steady at 59 degrees for a while now here northeast of Waxahachie at the studio location. And so we're staying steady at 59, but that is much cooler than the 80s down south of Waco. And that just shows you the differential of temperatures that we're looking at with respect to where the warm front is, where the unstable air is. Plenty of unstable air still here, but these storms are just having a harder and harder time maintaining their strength. The storm in the Groesbeck area is the one that caused all of the concern in Waco. That has moved off to the east. That's kind of the last real big supercell right now, a decent storm in Bosque County getting ready to move into Hill and McClendon counties here. But this one is really the Lone Ranger as far as the really, really big stuff, at least in our particular area. Yes, we look broadly, I don't see any warnings for this activity here, farther to the south from Brady on up towards Hamilton there. Not really seeing anything with that. Rotation continuing in that Limestone County storm. But yeah, this is what we're watching right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings remain in place. This northern warning, okay, we have a flash flood warning now too in Hill County. So as I expected, and I kind of mentioned this a few times, we are now looking at more of a flooding risk with these storms. So let's see, flash flood warning west of Ellis County. Probably, yeah, so parts of west of Italy, at least, west of Italy, Milford. Not much of Ellis County is going to be included in any kind of flood risk. Barely rained in Ellis County so far, at least in this round. But the flash flood warning is from Itasca on down to Whitney here. So this is the area where the flash flood warning is. You can just barely see that green line. And there's a lot of warnings, and there's a lot of polygons, so it's hard to see what's where. But there's a severe thunderstorm warning in here as well. So I want to, how much more time do we have? It's 7:30, so we have about 30 more minutes of the severe thunderstorm warning for this particular area in northern Hill County here. So I think we are transitioning to more of a flood threat at this time, because this Hill County's had plenty of heavy rain. We move over to Corsicana, the Navarro County area. Plenty of rain here too. Probably some small hail from Dawson up to southern portions of Corsicana there. Not thinking there's a significant hail threat, but south of Corsicana, north of Richland here, heading towards Richland Chambers, I do think that we're looking at some hail there. It's just pockets of hail, largely small hail, probably, dime, nickel, quarter size maybe, but I don't think we're looking at anything too terribly intense there in Navarro County. Plenty of lightning. It's a noisemaker, but I don't think we have anything too terribly concerning. We'll check out the velocity just for wind speeds. And it looks like we are looking at some pretty decent wind in the El Dorado Center area. So El Dorado Center towards Salina there, Salina maybe, or Kalina, I don't know how, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Salina, I know, is up north. Not sure how it's pronounced here. But this particular storm, let's get back and look. What are we seeing? So that's kind of inside of the storm. It almost looks like there could be some rotation there, but I would be very pessimistic about the possibility of rotation just because it's so rain locked. There's so much rain here. Any kind of rotation is going to wrap up on itself, get choked off. So uh, I do think there's some stronger winds here from far southern Navarro County on down, but I don't think we have any kind of tornado risk or anything like that. So I think the main thing is just a hail risk south of Corsicana, between Corsicana and Richland there, right on 45. As far as Navarro County is concerned, that's going to be my worry. And then both Navarro and Hill counties, I think, need to be concerned with flooding, flash flooding, because these areas are getting plenty of heavy rain and it's not going to slow down anytime soon. That last tornado warning continues in the Groesbeck area. That's well south of our area. We do still have the severe thunderstorm warning, the flash flood warning, that other severe thunderstorm warning in Hill County. And this activity will continue to move off to the east. I think this will continue to weaken as it does, and that will turn into just another rainmaker for those areas as well. So I think that's where we're at right now. I'm going to do another broad look here. Of course, as all of this continues to move forward, I'll get a quick drink of water here. Okay. As we continue to watch, this activity continuing to move off to the east, and there is more rain back into the Stephenville area, and we'll get another look at what to expect later tonight. Just generally, I don't have a lot of specifics on that, but all of this activity, you can see there's motion here that's kind of all moving together. So I do expect we could see southern Ellis County get some heavier rain here, but really, if you watch, this has been trying to move in to that area, and it's just really not doing much. New severe thunderstorm warning in the Gatesville area, head towards Killeen. Much warmer air down there, much more unstable air. So they've got a long night ahead of them. A long, long night ahead of them as far as this is concerned. But, you know, in Hill County, Bosque into Hill County here, northern of McLennan County, less of a hail threat, more of a rain threat, damage of flooding rains here, because these places have gotten tons of heavy rain. It's not moving terribly quickly either. It's just kind of dragging along, and it does appear to be training a little bit. You see this kind of northeasterly motion here, so you have heavy rain, multiple waves of heavy rain moving over the same areas there, and that's just not helpful for anybody. But largely, again, Ellis, Johnson counties, things are quiet. Things are pretty quiet. There's some heavy rain in parts of those areas, southern parts of those counties, but there's really not much happening for those areas. I mean, you know, Ennis may see some rain out of this. I think Ennis, you're getting some rain. Could see pockets of heavy rain move through as this activity moves on to the east. Looks like Grandview there in southern Johnson County getting a little bit of that moderate to maybe some briefly heavy rain. Italy, Milford areas, I think, see some heavy rain coming out of this. Again, very briefly, could be some small hail involved with that. But Waxahachie, Red Oak, Midlothian, over to Bo, I did indeed say the Q word, but I don't think it's quite as damaging in my job as it is yours. We'll wait and see what happens. But you know, Cleburne, Burleson, Venus Alvarado, Joshua there over in Johnson County. It's just not really looking at much, and I don't think you will be looking at much. Now, questions about what's happening later on tonight. When we get later on, I do think that we could have a thin line of showers, possibly some thunderstorms that forms along the front as that moves through. Not guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think it's possible that we could possibly see that going forward. And I think as we go forward here, I think that it'll be a thin line. I don't think we'll see much out of it at this point. So, you know, it won't be like this. It won't be this. It won't be the kind of hail threat that we have seen, you know, the kind of flooding threat that we are dealing with right now. Let's take a look at a couple of things. Let's revisit this hail threat here. It doesn't look like we've gotten an update on the vertically integrated liquid in a while now. That's still the same image we had about, no, about almost 20 minutes ago. So we'll have to wait and see what that's going to do. Hopefully we get an update there. Now, yeah, so I mentioned this too. This is moving into McLennan County here. Going to stay south, at least for the moment, stay south of Hill County, moving into northern McLennan County here. Another area of intensifying rotation. You see the bright green, the bright red, kind of the yellow in there. That is an intensifying area of circulation moving towards, once again, the northern Waco area. That will have to be watched. But as far as what's in our particular area in Hill County, not really seeing any kind of concerns there. Could be some broad rotation here west of Wortham, but I really don't think that we will be looking at anything too concerning here. Again, from what I can tell, it's rain-wrapped. So not a rain-wrapped tornado, but the circulation is rain-locked, as I like to say, where it's just going to be rain wrapping up on itself, won't allow any kind of feeding of inflow or anything that would be required to make a tornado. So I think we're also good in that respect. So a couple of things, we'll go back to just some housekeeping things. First of all, a big thank you again for the number of donations coming in from Cash App, Venmo, those kind of things. I think that the comments are there if you want to find it. So that is a really big help there. A message asking where this is. This is north central Texas. Ellis, Hill, Johnson, and Navarro counties in Texas are the areas that are covered by South Metro Weather. And thank you for everyone that's gone from the Facebook feed, the Facebook video, over to the YouTube video. That has been really helpful. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. The video quality is so much better. We've seen it in the chat so far that, it's really, really helping to build up the YouTube following. And, short term, that may reduce some of the gains from Facebook that I get there, but make sure you keep the Facebook feed, because some of the just periodic updates, the Twitter and Facebook are good for the periodic stuff throughout the day. Because YouTube doesn't really have as great a tool for that yet. So when it comes to through the day of, oh, hey, they just updated the severe weather risk, or they updated, they posted this watch, or whatever the case is. So before the live stream starts, with anything that's not on a video update, those kind of quick updates usually are going to go through Facebook, through the Facebook feed and the Twitter feed. So make sure you at least hold on to the Facebook feed. It's still useful, but when it comes to the video quality, the video content, YouTube is a far, far, far better, far better platform overall. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. And we had some audio issues before. We got those addressed, and I will be addressing those long term without a doubt. I think what happened was that the packs died. I think I was delinquent in and failed to charge those, to charge the charger that those go to. That will be taken care of, so that will not happen again. This is just kind of be part of my pre-broadcast regimen there. But yeah, we're looking at, we started tonight with what? Somewhere in the ballpark of, I want to say it was, I wish I could see, let's see. So, let's see. Yeah, so in the last, last 7 days, so we gained almost 100 subscribers tonight in the last 7 days. So, I'll definitely take that. That's great. That helps to build the channel, build the platform, and it's just a better piece of, better use of this platform, the better quality. It's better quality, the functionality is better, the algorithm is better, all that good stuff. So, just touching on all those things. We'll talk about Hill County again. Here's Hillsborough. And, we have some heavier rain moving into, and there's the question, the Milford area. So just south of Italy, moving into Milford. So there is some concern there that we could get some heavier rain there. And if you're in a flood-prone area in the Milford area and the Italy area, just keep that in mind as we get more heavy rain moving through tonight. You could be looking at a flash flooding problem. There is a flash flood warning already in northern Hill County, northern Bosque County for these storms. Heavy rain continuing from Hillsborough to Whitney down into Bosque County there. Looks like Bosque County has the possible rotation there, and the hail core there as well. More docile there in Hill County now. It's loud. These storms have a lot of lightning and thunder, but nothing really going on in terms of that, in terms of the really scary stuff, right? The really large hail, the damaging winds and the tornadoes, that kind of thing. Plenty of heavy rain in Corsicana right now, south side of Corsicana, Navarro County. We'll take a look at the winds here. Could be, again, we're looking at that kind of broad rotation here that I don't think is going to do much, just outside of Wortham. That's really mostly south of Navarro County at this point. And then we could have some hail going down in the Mildred area towards Eureka, but I don't really have any concern for large hail in Navarro County. We could be looking at some small kind of pocket change size hail in parts of Navarro County right now, but really neither area really looks too terrible. Right on the edge of Hill County here could have some larger hail, but nothing, definitely nothing to be terribly concerned about. And had a question about Rice. So Rice, Alma, this area, not looking at much happening. Just some light, maybe some moderate rain here. Could have this little cell bring some moderate rain to that area too. But really, this is just turning into a big rainmaker, at least for our area, for the South Metro area. Severe thunderstorm warning continues there, but for about another 15 minutes here, I think that will be allowed to expire. But just a big rainmaker here. The tornado watch does continue, just referenced in the chat here. The tornado watch does continue for our area until 10 p.m. So, we definitely are looking at several more hours of being considered part of a threat. But really, I mean, we're filling in this stuff so much that I really don't think that we're going to see much of a difference or much of an increase in the severe weather threat over the next several hours here. Just tons of rain, tons of lightning, tons of thunder. These things are going to make a lot of noise and sound really terrifying. But yeah, I really don't think that we're going to see too big a difference here. And as far as Ellis and Johnson counties, could be some rain moving through tonight. But the severe weather threat really is staying south of Ellis and Johnson. So if you're in Ellis and Johnson, from Waxahachie to Corsicana, Red Oak, Milford, Midlothian, Milford could see some heavier rain here. But Ennis, Palmer, Ferris, Red Oak, Oakleaf, Midlothian, Burleson, Joshua, Cleburne, those areas, really going to stay quiet. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up this live stream, just so that not only I can take a break, but I can take a moment to kind of put the messages out on the stream about the fact that, again, we are looking at more of a flood threat at this point. But you can still follow that radar-only stream. Just go over to the YouTube page, so go to the YouTube channel. It's a radar-only, live radar, no audio stream that's just going to show you where the storms are. There's not, it's just going to be the general area. So it's not going to be zoomed into one place or another. We're going to show the whole area so you can see what's affecting your part of our area at any given time. I'm going to show that motion so you can see where things are going. It'll have the warnings popping up there too. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for the donations, all of the support that you guys have given. And I will continue to post updates on the Facebook and YouTube pages, the Facebook and Twitter pages. Again, those are good for those just quick little updates. And if another live stream is required, make sure you go and subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so that you're notified if severe weather coverage begins again.